Alrighty guys, so what are we going to be looking at? What are we going to be looking at? Well, as the title says, it's a freeware plane. We aren't going to be doing this on PilotEdge. And therefore, this is going to be a short, not midget, just short, a very short flight. Alright, so we're going to be looking at this old payware plane, which is now freeware. In my opinion, one of the best freeware. I keep doing these, the best freeware airbird, warbird, bird that flies in the air from the war. Available for free, 4X plane. Hands down. I haven't noticed any more recent conversions. This runs on Dream Engine, which allows obviously incredible sounds. The manual is most excellent. Some people are Some people are complaining about the fact that it's not written in English. The airplane's not textured in English, but it wasn't an English plane, right? It was a Japanese Rising Sun plane, the Zero. And I don't know. I don't know why people are like, we need it in English. The manual converts it to you in English. And I'll prove it to you. I'll give you a little proof here of my statement. Doesn't look like you're seeing the full window, but regardless, now you are. As we continue to scroll, right, it kind of tells you this isn't for navigation. And then right here, it converts everything for you. So it's like, well, this is for your weapons, this is for your lighting. So we're going to look at it here in a couple seconds. I just wanted to give you guys some time to run in here. One of the cool things, pretty much everything has a sound to it. So that's the sound of the throttle moving. They might be the same sounds. I really can't tell. It really doesn't bother me if they are. Like it's an X-Plane, I believe, 9 to 10 product. Initially designed for 9, converted to 10.2 support, and then made freeware. So I have no trouble not getting picky about the sounds, because the sounds were what they could do back with the X-Plane 9 and 10 technology, which Dream Engine completely revolutionized. Even though now Dream Engine's updated, I don't expect this person to keep it updated. Hello, Neo Official. How are you doing today? So anyway, I'll get you guys back to the cover, as per usual, and we'll get things started up, spooled up in this case, because it's a radial engine. We'll get things turning. There isn't really a checklist, so it's just kind of figure out what you want about a radial engine and make it happen, simulate it to your own realism. We're going to turn the engine for a couple strokes here. You can't enable the starter for a certain time and turn it on and off. Let me make sure that I am streaming under the X-Plane title and not under some fake title. But how are you doing, sir? Welcome. Music! Music to my ears. Welcome, Music Man. Music, I think you're the second person to join, or at least the second person who has confidence behind the keyboard to say hello. So today we're looking at the Zero. Don't speak any Japanese myself, so this could get interesting, but the manual's converted to English. So everything's kind of wonky. Let me update that so that way we're playing the proper game. I completely mislabeled it as DCS. That was my mistake. Yeah, that was my mistake. Initially, I was going to do some formation streaming, and then I stumbled across this beast. I just fixed it. Let me know what's wrong with the audio. For you, Gaffordson, it seems like everything is going well. I've kind of fixed that title. I'm not seeing any warnings about CPU loading. So the reason why I haven't streamed, besides I've been busy, is the fact that I couldn't do a game capture of X-Plane. So I deleted my NVIDIA drivers, reinstalled them, deleted my NVIDIA drivers, tried to reinstall them, deleted them fully, tried to reinstall them, and it was like, you have no NVIDIA driver. I was like, that's a royal pain in the ass if I have no NVIDIA driver. So I then went back to the drawing board and undid all the changes I did and kind of updated everything. And it's not where it was. I still can't do a game capture of X-Plane, so it looks like it was a loss. But a learning experience nonetheless. So let me get you guys to some of the documentation here, because I'll let some people flow in, but as we look, you can see this is the Mitsubishi A6M0. I'm not going to be flying this on PilotEdge. I wouldn't fly a foreign language plane on PilotEdge until I understand it. I own the Antonov 2, but I don't fly it on PilotEdge. There's a reason for it. Partially, you can't do differential braking, which means taxi's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, You can see we have our nice caricature of a Zero pilot. This was made by the company Mitsubishi. For those of you guys who are in X-Plane, Mitsubishi MU2. Similarity, not at all, but it's the same general company. This is manual version 2. This is an X-Plane 9.7 10.2 product. Now it's currently freeware. He gives you some of the stats here. Fun to read, not really important. We can't exceed 666 kilometers an hour, or this many knots, or this many miles per hour. Maximum speeds, that's well below VNE, but anyway, maximum speed, we have a 3,000 range. We aren't going to be going 3,000 nautical miles, but always good to know. 1,675 nautical miles, or 3,100 kilometers. One thing to keep in mind is this is we'll call it standard units plane, so technically it's non-standard, so it doesn't use the American aviation standards. And then it gives you some fun facts about the guns. The guns are fireable. I have no real need to fire the guns. Like, I don't get all, ooh, boom, boom, pow, pow. I don't really need to do that. You can drop bombs. The bombs go boom and create a whole bunch of black smoke, which gets environmentalists upset. So we aren't going to do that one today. And pretty much that's the plan. Ooh, there you go, something connected. Is PilotEdge like, it's similar. I'll say it's very similar. I'm going to have to go and actually move my pedals to a spot where I can use them and fix my joystick, because as of current, we're like full left deflection and my joystick's centered. Yes, in general, yeah, just read what Geffertson said. I kind of support that one, but we aren't going to be flying on PilotEdge today. We just actually set up my rudder pedals, because apparently I have them like 60 feet into the wall or something. It's actually more like right up against the wall, and I'm sitting probably like 10 feet away from the wall, and I'm not 10 feet tall, so let me go fix that, and I'll be right back with you guys. I'll kind of keep scrolling through the manual, but he gives you this literature to read, so I'll be a nice person to give you guys literature to read, because that's why you tuned into a stream, right? It's to read some literature. And Mr. Neo, if you want to check it out, check out PilotEdge, go to pilotedge.net. You can find all the information you need there. Assuming that you're fairly link savvy, you should be perfectly fine. So joystick seems to be centered. We're going to continue down through the manuals. He kind of gives you a documentation of what each thing is for inside the panel cockpit. And as we look at this, you can see, over here's the gear and flaps unit, but right here's where it gets really valuable. He takes each of these things and gives them a name. Right, so you look at this, you're like, okay, switch 4 is that switch right next to the red switch with the writing that I can't transcribe, and that's my formation light switch. Well, then there's my wingtip lights. So I'm going to keep this in one of the upper corners. It's probably not going to be of a resolution you can read. If that's of a concern to you guys, I can obviously enlarge in it, like anything nowadays. But we're gonna scroll through here. You can open and close the wing tanks. You can control the fuel that the aircraft gets. Where is it? Somewhere in here he talks about flaps. He also describes the gear and flaps handle. It's really not that hard. You can trial and error and figure it all out. The only thing that was the issue were these switches. And obviously the comm panel's a little wonky. That's your gear and flaps indicator. Gear's in red, flaps are in white. Here is everything. Alright, so this is the bad lever. You never want to pull that one unless you want to drop your fuel tank. You really can't see it. This one right here, you never want to pull that one. This is your flaps handle, this is your gear handle. When you look inside the cockpit, I'll point out something that was rather interesting that he talks about in this thing, which is how you operate this gear and handle. This gear and handle, this gear and flaps handle. So right now I can see that you guys are seeing everything you should be seeing, which means I'll assume you guys will be able to see everything else. So we're going to go here, you're going to see, not the surface, but you're going to see that I've been kind of trying to get this stuff to work, and it hasn't been working. I have multiple settings, but I'm not going to talk about that. Right now I'm going to put this in a place where I can see my levels, you can see my levels, and I'm going to remove that so you guys can't see it. So here we are in the 0. As always, it's a little warm inside a plane, so let's open it up. Alright, so there's a sound for that. Next we're going to do is we're just going to play with some of these dials just to show you guys the sounds in it, because, it's an old payware plane that's now free, so. Now, what is this? What is this terrible sound? This one here. Stand by. This one here is for your main flaps. And in the manual, which you can now see in the upper right instead of the lower left, because I found out that there are many gauges, this is for your oil system. This controls the radiator scoop. So this, I believe, is full open, and then the other one is full closed. Or sorry, this is full closed, and then as you go this way, it makes it more open, right? 6 is a bigger number than 1, so therefore it should open that. Now let's get outside here. So you can see I didn't download, this is just the default livery. You can get it with more liveries or libraries. The wingtips are folded. One of the cool things I'll show you guys is that the lights actually follow those wingtips. So let's head over to our lighting panel. Yeah, you need to be able to fly a plane before you join PilotEdge. It's a little, they focus more on the navigation than coaching you through how to fly. Like they focus more on the communication skills than teaching you how to fly. So if you want to learn how to fly, probably that sim will be a better bet for you. If you're concerned about embarrassing yourself. If you're not, then by all means. But be wary that not many people will like it after you do that to yourself, because it also ties them up. So switch number 6 is at the lights that I'm looking for, which is that switch. And like a pro, it doesn't turn on. Just going to keep, there you go. So those are our tip lights. Down here is where our wings get folded. As you look, you see that light follows the wing folding animation, which I think is really cool. That's something that you don't get in Microsoft Flight Simulator, because they don't do animated lights. They really just don't do lighting well at all. But a later stream about Microsoft Flight Simulator, indeed. Alright, so let's learn what these switches do. I did set up default views because by default there are no views, which personally I prefer. I mean, I might keep one or two views that the creator gives you, but I just rather create my own. This is for whatever this panel is. This is one of those whatever this panel does. This is an oxygen, I believe. Although I don't know if they used it. They should have. So anyway, 0, 1 is just pretty much all of our gauges. These are our fuel gauges. This is I believe, a cross feed. This is our fuel selector. There is a puzzle here that explains, here it is, what each thing goes to. So currently what we're pulling it from, we're on A, which is A. We got closed tank selector, so let's put it on both, which is the white one. Notice all this is white and red themed, almost like the theme of the rising sun. E and G are left wing tank, so those are these guys up here. So left wing tank, sadly you gotta select one or the other. Since it's probably... we'd have more rightward throw. We're going to pull it from the left tank first, and then G and H. The red part is drop tank, and the white part is fuselage. This here, before somebody asks me, is your unknown gauge. This is your fuel, respectively, in one tank and the other. I believe you can switch it. Yeah, you can switch it between the two tanks, your aux and main tank. Or left and right wing tank. You also have, I'm trying to figure out what these switches do for you guys. I would just recommend YouTube if you're looking for completely like how to fly a plane. YouTube's probably your best bet. Depending on the sim, I would watch Real World Pilots. So there are 2 bombs. This is a bomb release, so we aren't going to play with that because that tends to end badly when you're in a plane on the ground and you release the big boom. This is our engine instrument view. 3 was kind of this view. One thing to note is that this is actually for your guns. So if we turn on power, I know how very exciting. Gunfire. No gunfire. Oh, that's fun. I really have no use for that feature, but I can't remember how to turn it off. So there you go. I mean, I know how to turn it on and off. The click spot to find is sometimes dicey. This is your mixture control. You're going to notice that there are detents here. This is probably max lean you would do on the ground. This is min, and that's just all the way full power, no regrets. YOLO, YOTO, whatever you want to live by. This is your comm radio. It's rather fun. This is your comm radio 1. There's a nav radio. Oh, goodness, somewhere. There are controls for this. I don't know where they are. That's why I'm not doing this on PilotEdge, because I really don't know how to run these comms, because they're pretty much custom comms there. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Flight Chops, yeah, love Flight Chops. He's got some great stuff. And then there's our wing view, our always present wing view. This is our tank release. This is our gear indicator down, up. You can see the kind of arrows. This is our flaps. So it's kind of like a dial a flap, but you need hydraulics to dial a flap. Nav radio here. This is dial a flap. This is dial a gear. This is a handle that doesn't quite work. But the interesting part when you think about it is, right, you got a hand here on the throttle, you got a hand on the stick, so you can manipulate these. But then how do you get to the gear handle? Well, you take your hand off the throttle. You have to put that throttle hand here and replace it on that control column. And then you got to reach and grab this handle. If you grab that one, it's flaps. If you grab this one, that's why it's so close. It's the release for the drop tank. You'll pretty much explode if you do that on the ground or close to it. And that's your flaps. So worst comes to worst, you just pull in a notch of flaps and you stall to your doom, or you drop your drop tank. But anyway, let's close the cabin. Let's get the tips down. Let's get out of here. Cabin's closed. We're sitting here at March Air Reserve Base in Riverside, California, which is actually in the PilotEdge coverage area. Because we're such a small plane and I don't want to spend 5 hours taxiing, we're just going to taxi here to runway 33. In real life, runway 33, I believe, is now closed. Just because now that this is open to general aviation, it would make no sense to have general aviation flying potentially into the path of a high approach C-130 or KC-135. Tends to not go well. Flight Sim 481 is a really good guy. Really actually intelligent guy. I would recommend him too. Pretty much everyone that he's mentioned. Hello, Dogman. How you doing, Dog Bob? How you doing today? Alright, so we're here. We need to get these darned wing things down because we don't look cool with that. We aren't some epic or something that needs the wing upturns. Alright, let's look at these switches. Upper corner, upper right of your screen, you should see the surface view. Let me know if it's unreadable, if you really want it to be readable. If we look at our engine gauges, that's something I should walk you through before I start pulling power. And it looks like our joystick's not centered at all. Oh, it is. 3, 4, 5. Alright, so here we have our exhaust temperature. B, we have a standard 12-hour clock. We have our speed. In this one, you can see it's 0 to 300 miles per hour as yours truly learns to zoom around an X-plane. 300 miles per hour is on the inside. This is in knots, or not in knots. This is in kilometers per hour. That's just a different unit that we don't need to worry about. This is our compass. So one of the fun things is you actually have to set this somehow. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because this should be at 300-ish, and you're supposed to set this. So I think if we go to here, that set it. I'm not entirely... Oh, no, this is... So this, I think, is this, and that's it there. I mean, it's complicated, and I don't really understand how it works. But we'll see if as we turn, if that thing kind of moves and our red dot stays in the same place. I think that's for heading select here, and then that white dot is where this orb is. Which can also be used as your ball and oil. Let me know how my mic levels are. They seem a little quiet. Once we get the engine running, it's probably going to be darned near impossible to hear me. Just let me know how they are. And let's see what we got going on here. We got this. That's just a fun thing to play with because yours truly doesn't know what it does. That's not anywhere. It's not listed anywhere. So we're learning this plane quickly, which is why it's not on PilotEdge, recommended settings, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I know how to get the plane started. But as I walk you guys through things, I see new things. So this here is obviously our VSI. Just accept it's our KSI, so it's kilometers per minute instead of feet per minute. This here, respectively, is our oil and fuel pressure. I is our TAC RPM, so we can't go above 35. That's probably inches, and then this is in hectopascals. This red and white gauge, letter J in the alphabet, is our manifold pressure gauge. Got to keep an eye on that. K is oil temp. I is something. It says I is oh, that's an L. That's your cylinder head temp gauge. That's your exhaust temp gauge. F is this gauge right here. This is represented of your altimeter. Anyway, yeah, so you can set that. Great. That's going to be useful. I guess this is in 4,000 feet, or is that 9.6? So I guess you got to remember how many rotations this goes around. That'll be something to test. This here is something that probably not many people know about. This is an RDF. So pretty much you can tune a VOR, but it's going to act just like a indicator. This is straight to it. This is to your left. This is to your right. And so to fly straight to it, you would point yourself towards it. So pretty much you can only do direct to VORs. You really can't intercept a radial. I mean, you can. You just fly a heading until that thing goes direct to, and then you just turn direct to once you're on that heading. But it's a little bit hit or miss to do it. I could learn how to do it and show you guys how to do it. Pretty much you would fly a heading. And then if this needle moves this way, then you turn a little bit this way to intercept that heading until you're on that heading and it's pointing direct to where you're going. Alright. We're in the plane. We've shut the door. Things are getting real. We've put down the wingtips. We look like a cool pilot. Let's figure out what we're doing. That goes on. Let's see what we got here. Avionics stays off because we don't want to light things on fire. Generator stays off. Master is on. We're going to turn on our navigation lights. Our tip lights are going to turn on our other navigation lights. We got our autopilot. These two are for our autopilot. Don't use the autopilot. You said it can be unreliable. This is our pump, the fuel, and weapon sight light, power light. Power light's on, which means we have power, and we'll turn on the heat just in case things get a little frosty. Alright. Mixture's full rich. We're going to prime it. These are our mags, off, left, right, both respectively. Actually, you don't want to do that. On a radial, we're going to make sure that we got some fuel in it. We're going to pull our mixture back. We're going to make sure our parking brake's set, which we're going to assume it is. And we're going to hope it turns over. Just a little bit. Actually put you forward, put this forward, thinking that it should turn. Nope, okay. Alright, so there, we'll let the engine rotate and get some oil through it. The issue is I don't have anything set for mixture, so I kind of have to do it manually, so bear with. Alright, we'll just do it this way. So we'll let some oil circulate. Oil circulated. And then we'll take this and push it full, and you won't be able to hear me at all, probably. Yeah, I don't think you can hear me over that. Hello, disgrace. I don't know if you can hear me. Let me know how that audio is. Alright, now you should be able to hear me over that engine. Let me know how it is here. This thing's really loud. It's painfully loud on my end. I'm going to assume that that's better. It still says I'm playing DCS World. So I need to fix that, apparently. Okay, good. Let me fix this here. Stand by. Alright, now you guys are looking at the surface. You guys can see what I'm talking about. He translates everything. There you go. Let me know how that is, because that should be a lot better. That's your parking brake click spot. It was right there. Just be aware of that. So now we're going to kind of taxi around. I really don't want to be shouting over this plane. We're going to lean it out a little bit. And I'm going to get you guys to a view where you can see X-Plane, because that's what you want to see. Alright, there's X-Plane. Alright, so we're going to go over here. The issue is you really can't see out of the nose, so onto the lane here. The game plan for taxi is we're going to go the wrong direction. We're just going to do a couple donuts here, and then we're going to go this way to this runway. Let me know how these levels are, because I tried lowering it. Let me know if it's still really too loud. So, for those of you guys who wonder, this is full back, which keeps our tail on the ground. As you can see, tail's elevated, tail's pushed into the ground. It's a common thing with tail draggers. So make sure that all of the lights that we want on are on. I have a feeling this is going to go south really quickly. I wish I had access to my stream. Stand by. Stand by. Oh, the dryer almost exploded. Alright, the throttle's back, mixture's back, pulling back on the stick, we're continuing the taxi. Still let me know how those audio levels are. I'm not entirely sure how they are for you guys. I just heard the dryer like about to, it was off center. It's a front load dryer, which I've never heard before, but it was off center. Alright, so you can hear everything. I checked the audio levels on my end through the always wonderful iPhone, and everything seemed bueno. Alright, so we're sitting here, do a check of our engine inst. We got high yields on the exhaust temperature. Cylinder heads are warming nicely. Pressure's within reasonable limits. What happens if I do this? That's something you don't want to hear your pilot say. Ooh, what happens if I do this? So we can turn off the fuel pump. Once we go mixture full rich, okay, we'll look down at the seat. Let's mixture full rich. And we'll make sure the engine doesn't kill itself. Fuel pump is which switch, you might ask? Switch 7, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 in. This switch. And everything seems nice. Those are cooling off. We'll set a notch of flaps. Actually, we'll do this legitly. I'm not entirely sure how this works. Stop. Stop. Okay. I guess it's not dial a flap then. Middle? Alright. Works for me. Alright. This thing's not as aggressive as I thought for a World War II plane. I have no idea when rotate speed is, but we're not going to pull up until then, until the nose rises. Alright, we're going to release that back pressure, and up we go. That's takeoff right there. Release the back pressure, and we just kind of took off. We'll pull in the dial flap, so now we've got our throttle set, so we come over here, we put up the gear. Oh, God. Whew. It's dicey. Alright, so this is rather sensitive to the small manipulations. Which makes sense for a warbird. You want to be precise and have some built-in instability. So our heading, our white dot moves and our red dot stays the same. If there's the 60 freeway, they're probably wondering why the heck is there a Japanese plane taking off. Alright, so we got it in the war emergency power, which we really don't need in this plane. So we'll reduce that, we'll turn over here a little bit, pull back the mixture, we'll pull the prop back a little bit. No charts on where you should run the engine. Pretty much just looking at our speed and kind of going, okay, well, this is where we need to be. The red, I'm assuming, is war emergency power. That'd be the obvious place that I would put a red line to be for war emergency power. So I don't think we really need that, but we're up in the air. Yeah, I know they have a working thing in Chino. I really want to go to that Chino air show this year and get some photograms, put that on the stream. We're just sitting here. We're going to see how the plane handles. So if it's not in trim, it has a nose-up tendency. So I let go of the stick, did too much nose down. So now it's kind of a battle of the trim. And we'll do a quick low pass. And pretty much going to make sure we aren't on PilotEdge. Because we'd be inside restricted airspace. We'd be inside a air reserve base, which I'm not going to get into that. But I watched a couple streams where they speculated about that plane crash, and like, oh yeah, they use completely separate frequencies on a military base. And it's like, ever flown into this one? You use the same frequency no matter what you are. The reason is for coordination. That wasn't perfect. Alright, we're gonna fly to the end of this runway and then initiate our turn. Gonna throttle her down. Not all the way down. Alright, power's set. Initiate that base turn. I did say we're doing a low pass, didn't I? So throttle's set. More emergency power. There we go. A little bit of fuel burn never hurt no one. Well, it did if you were, never mind. Full power. It's gonna talk about that plane where everybody got off and stood on the wings, but they don't run on the same fuel as these nice piston aircraft do. Oh, that was the wrong view completely. So there we go. You can see that these can probably be pulled in here. We need to turn for a runway, and we'll pull those in just really quick. Keep the engine nice and toasty. We'll open some oil shutters, because our oil temp and pressure is getting kind of high. We'll just run down this taxiway, apparently because I didn't set us up for the right runway. For those who love guns and gun sounds, you press that, and there you go. For those who like to drop your external fuel tank, you press the external fuel tank drop, which is this switch. Current airspeed, for those who wonder, we're going about 200 knots. We're keeping it safe. Actually, not even 200. We're doing like 240. We're keeping it below 250, below 10, because we're responsible pilots. A little bit of nose high. There you go. That's about the only time you'll see me do this. If I'm in this plane, you'll expect either stunts or professionalism. 9 times out of 10, expect a combination of both. Alright, for emergency power can be stowed. Unfortunately, this plane doesn't have any fuses, so I guess if something blows, it's been hit by a bullet. This is our fuel on-off. This is our aux fuel mixture. I believe this is a cross feed, I would like to say. Whatever that did, that gave us terrible nose-down pitch. This is your trim wheel. As you can see, I'm moving trim, which is moving that red dial. This one we're going to do a full stop. We're just going to check to see how I can land the tail dragger. Runway's right there. We're about midfield. Wow, my control inputs are almost like I've been flying FSX for 3 hours. Alright, down goes the power. Down goes the trim. Apparently as you reduce power, you get a nose-high attitude. Maybe because this prop is below the center line, below the CG point. Maybe the CG point's here, and so the prop went on. We'll give you a nose-down attitude. So now we're going to reduce some power. Not really sure what your extension speed is, but we have our power set. Gear can come down. Give us a little bit of excess drag. Increase a little more the oomph. We're going to keep going for a little bit here. We'll turn after this beautiful body of water. We're going to use dial flap. I need to change this flap thing so it's incremental instead of this insta set. Because it looks like you can set, if you want 10 degrees, you can set 10 degrees, but this person has it modeled as full throw. And, if this thing was Payware and I were to see somebody stream it, I'd definitely pick it up. The fact that this is now freeware, you really have no reason to pick this up unless you're totally against flying vintage planes. Unless, you have you hate helicopters, unless you're like a streamer who hates helicopters and you would never fly a helicopter, then this plane is probably not for you if you have the same phenomenon with warbirds. But I can't think of somebody who wouldn't like to fly a warbird, at least one or another. And this will give you a free look at the guy's quality. If he develops any other planes for X-Plane, you know that it will be of a higher standard than this one, hopefully. And therefore you can pick it up. I'm very chatty in the chat once I started talking. Not sure if it's my gorgeous voice or what it is, but that centered dial flap, requesting another notch. I expect a slight ballooning. Cylinder head temps are good. Exhaust temps are acceptable. Clock is ticking. We're descending. Not sure what a standard descent rate would be in nautical miles. Or feet per minute to, I believe that's kilometers a minute. But 3 kilometers is about 6 feet, so therefore 300 feet per minute. 300 kilometers per minute is about 600 feet per minute. So I think where we are is probably a default profile. But I've never been able to hit a default profile before. So keep the red dot. Red dot represents the center of the plane. So my goal is to keep the center of the plane on that runway. And we got to keep our eye on airspeed, which is conveniently right here. If you want, there's your gun sight, but it's really I have no use for it. Alright, a little bit of nose high, so we're going to add some trim down because I'm tired of adding forward pressure to the stick. Alright, chopping the throttle, just because we're coming in kind of fast. We'll pull back on the prop just slightly, just to hopefully at a little bit more speed. There's a helipad here, right there, so we're going to make sure we're going to come in kind of at a crab. What I really like to see is an X-plane plane that has proper rudder authority. This one tends to, or seems to. Increase power slightly, so I want to be able to see where I'm coming from. Be able to see if there are any choppers coming, and there aren't. Now we kick that out, we drop the power, and we hopefully land on the runway. No guarantees if it turns dicey, we're just going to chop and go and come full power and go to this runway. But it's looking like we're alright. I mean, this isn't that stable as I would like, but for my first time actually flying the plane, I think this is pretty good. But we aren't going to land on the runway. Oh, we are. We're just going to slam our gear into the runway. Alright, so we boarded that. Flap comes up, gear comes up. We're going to land on the big runway where nobody can judge me. Alright, so we're going to go this way. Keep it kind of low level. Don't see any planes around us. Maybe my chat's broken on my phone. Maybe people are just hating this flying that I'm doing. Or since I updated from X-plane, or to X-plane, they're kind of like, this isn't DCS. I kind of left. Maybe that's it. But yeah, DCS is a fun passion. It's not for form work. This is a gear representation. For those who don't know what this is, this shows whether your gear's down and locked. I'll try and show it here in a second. We're going to pull back on power. We're just pretty much going to do a 180 to land. But if I were to put gear down now, look at these indicators. See that as the gear comes down, the indicator pops up, kind of telling you, okay, your gear's down and locked. I'm not entirely sure this gauge works, because we were up here, and now it's coming all the way, like, full circle. I don't think we got to, like, 300 miles per hour that quickly. Don't mind that. Caltrans is on it. They know about that. It's a common issue with California runways. They tend to go underground, and they don't let cars know, and they just drive on top of it. It's a minor issue. So let's give her some more juice, because who doesn't like juice? Anyway. Alright, let's add in some adverse yaw problems by kicking in the rudder. You can see we do the ball and oil here, but if you look at this, if I do a coordinated turn, you can see that that's pretty much level. And then as I uncoordinate it, you see the ball starts to tilt. That's one of the really cool things about X-planes. You don't have to really get tailor planes to get a compass and oil to work properly. I forget its formal name. I'm just going to add massive control inputs right here. Keep an eye on the speed. Our descent profile is apparently perfect, which is rare if not a miracle. Now we're a little high. Are we really high? No, we're perfect. See, too red, too light. That's really low to these Freeware guys. Now I see why they take off on the other run. They take off on that runway. Nobody lands here really unless the wings have an adverse problem. So once again, we're crabbing it in partially because I need to get us over here. I'm not sure if there's some point. There might have been. Somebody didn't grab the MEDAR before flying. Maybe, or me, Ty, however you want to pronounce it. These are coming down. The power's coming down. I just glided in. We got flaps on the move. Alright, let's try a center line. Let's try and land on the center line. I heard that that's the way planes normally try and land. Alright, reduce power. Don't mind the massive float. This runway's long enough that you can land a KC-135 on it. Keep us out of a ground loop. Trying to keep us out of a ground loop. Trying to keep the control input steady. Steady. Alright, we're going off the runway. And here comes the ground loop. Nope. Okay. Alright, there you go. And we've parked in our natural habitat, which is the chaparral dirt to the left of the runway. Correction, to the right of the runway. Beautiful plane. It's not as challenging to fly as the Beaver, but it's definitely enjoyable. Make sure that all of our temps are good. That's getting a little toasty. Our oil temp, which I believe is this gauge, getting a little toasty. K, is our oil temp. Actually, our oil temp's doing good. Oil pressure, fuel pressure are both good. If there's something you guys want to see, let me know. I mean, I just flew that plane, snapped this getting into a ground loop, and decided to let her exit, partially because that's how much rudder I had. And I couldn't add much more safely without potentially getting us into a leftward ground loop. Thank you, music. I mean, I really do like the challenge of tail wheels. It's like helicopters, just you kind of have to think differently. For those of you guys who are obsessed with gear bounces, there's your gear bounces. I mean, it looks like, when you see a zero, it looks pretty much like a toy plane when it's on the ground in real life. Let's get those flaps up and out of here, and we'll try no flaps takeoff. Looks like we got more runway this way, so we'll turn this way, hopefully. Interesting. Alright. A little bit of drift. Never hurt no one. Well, it did hurt people, but that just happened recently on PCH. Alright. Got our point of reference. Runway's coming from about here. Alright, let's do it. Increasing power, keeping it below or emergency. And we're just going to let the plane rotate itself here. Keep ourselves centered. Squeeching sound I need to get rid of. Alright, there we go. We're lifting off the ground. I kind of added a little bit of back pressure once our tail wheel came off the ground. And we're in a nice spot here. Alright, so can't touch the power, touching the gear handle. I mean, pretty much without flying a PilotEdge, there's really like nothing to it. It's pretty... Hello, Torb. Welcome. Welcome, Torb. Sorry on the delay. And the zero. It used to be payware, now it's freeware. There's even a head marking on my head used to say. Alright. I mean, it's nimble, it's agile. You know, you can pull it up nose high and then do one of those. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't too coordinated at all. You saw our nose. We kind of did one of these with the nose instead of just being at a point rotation. That one was a little bit better. We got a little nose high, and then our nose just chunked it. But I'm not here to do aileron rolls, as enjoyable as they would be for certain viewers. Just here to fly this plane. I don't know what that does, but I always do enjoy. I think that's to de-jam the guns. But I think I've jammed them so much that it has no effect. Alright, shall we try the short runway? I mean, I always like challenges. We took the big runway because the short one was too much. This time I think we can handle it. So we're doing a 45 to intercept our turn to final. At this point we're going to drop the speed. I'm thinking we're going to keep the flaps in, which sounds ridiculous, but I didn't like how it was performing with full flaps out. It's not an issue with it, it's just I don't think I'd have enough maneuverability with full flaps down to get to where I want it to be to land at the right place with the proper point of view. So remember that I told you about helicopters, checking our oil temp. Oil temps are getting a little cool. As oil gets cooler, our oil pressure will rise. So we want to close that on up. So I open it just a little bit. Don't forget I'm also trying to land the plane at the same time. Right. Put the gear down. Power is set because we can't touch power. Gear comes down. Checking for helos and traffic. There's no traffic on this side. Swing under this way. There's no traffic on that side. The visibility in this plane is quite doable. Just takes a little bit of to do. Alright, power's out. Doesn't look like centerline. Yeah, it's not centerline at all. Alright. There's centerline. Power. We're going to float it in just to see if we can do it. Tricycle touchdown. Doesn't look like it. Nope. That was a side loading on the right side. But I mean, we got it down. We're fine. We're pulling back to give us that tail rudder authority. And Look at that. Some might say 0 issues. I mean, there were the issues, the right side gear loading, but nothing too bad. It's a great little plane to just fly around for free. Yeah, it truly is, Cranky. It's incredible. I kind of like this freeware, payware to freeware project that they do for older planes that have been developed. But, I mean, it uses StreamEdge. Like, it uses StreamEdge. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with it. It's an incredible plane. I really do enjoy it. I just didn't want to fly it on PilotEdge because these comms are other languagely. No pun intended. Actually, pun intended. And our taxiing skills in our head is down in the comms. It's terrible. This is actually our gear indicator here, our form lights. It's nobody's really going to want to form fly with us, sadly. But, because we're on a PilotEdge. Alright, we got full back pressure here. Let's see how good my hard brake turning is. Oh, there we go. A little bit of smoke, but we just burned the bacteria off the rubber. It's nothing bad. Need to get clear of this runway. We aren't on PilotEdge. That's pretty much all that I really had planned, was just a quick flight, kind of reviewing, looking at a new plane that I haven't flown at all, figuring out why we aren't going anywhere. There's parking brake, there's no parking brake. Oh god. Like, that would have been a perfect place to end it, wouldn't it? Just stop taxiing the plane. Let's get up our flaps here. Flaps are up, it looks like. This way. Ooh, this is like high-speed taxi. Driving it like we stole it. Okay, we're going to go this way, actually. Going to park inside one of these different colored pieces of concrete. Welcome to the non-movement area. Alright, we're going to see if we can do this here. See if we can center her up and do a turnabout one wheel. Add a little bit more juice. A little bit more juice. A little bit less juice. Release the brakes. Remember that these wings are kind of cantilevered backwards. They're not cantilevered, that was a complete wrong term, but that should be centered. And it's not. So let's take a look at how bad that was. Looks like a valet park job. But as you can see, these wings aren't perfectly straight. So I didn't mean cantilevered, but they kind of have a slight backward curvaceousness to them. I just can't remember the technical term. That's not our mixture, this is. I always like to see if there's that bug, and there isn't. Alright, I mean, that's pretty much all that I had planned. If there's something you guys want to see in this plane, something you want me to try with it. Okay, don't know what that did. Oh. Well, I just killed our plane. Apparently that was the bomb release. So now our plane smokes. If you do that, the plane will kind of just sit here and smoke and stuff. But that's what a bomb looks like if you drop it. You can see there's a little bit of burn marking. That's the bomb release, so if you want me to blow up the plane, that was free of charge. Anyway, but if there is something you guys want to see me do with the plane, test out with the plane, let me know, and I'll be more than glad to try it out. Pretty much, that's it for me. I had no other intent. This was going to be a short stream. I'm still working out some of these frame things. I reinstalled NVIDIA, and it worked for a day that I could do a game capture, but then the next day, which was today, it couldn't handle it. So pretty much, that's why that didn't happen. This plane's available with different liveries. I'm not going to talk about my stream issues, but this is available with different liveries. It's now part of that payware to freeware project. You can see I had a little bit of rudder in there. Apparently my rudder's not centered. Maybe it's rudder trim? Yeah, it's rudder trim. But you can see that they added a little bit of rightward rudder. Right there are your trim tabs for the plane. But I mean, it's a well-modeled plane for an original X-Plane 9 product. Apparently we don't have any dive flaps, which is correct. The Zero, I don't think, had dive flaps. There's our pilot, always on the watch for Americans, sadly. But whatever. He blinks, I think. Let's see if he blinks. Yes, he blinks. Okay, we go through the plane. Blink for us, senor. Here comes the blink. There it is. Whoo, he blinks. Anyway, that's that. That's the remains of the other super expensive, valuable Zero. It tends to just puff for a while. I'm not entirely sure why, but it puffs for a while. Alright, later disgraced. Yeah, so pretty much, if there's something you guys want to see, let me know. Because pretty much this could be it. This could be the end of this stream. Where the heck's the plane? There's the plane. There are the shadows. Come back, shadows. There they are. So yeah, pretty much. There's nothing else, then I might just bounce. It's up to you guys. Completely up to you guys. You guys can see the manual in the corner. I went over that a little bit earlier. People complain. I'll say this last thing one more time. People complain. People posted that, oh, it's not in English. Well, you know, there's more than enough accommodation for you English people, aka myself. This is in knots. This is not in VSI. This is, I think, still in kilometers. But this is all that you really need. And how to be able to read a heading, you'll be fine. Hold an altitude. It'll be a challenge, but obviously if you're not flying on PilotEdge, there's no problem. And even this is in the American inches of mercury, not in hectopascals, megapascals, whatever they use. And he translates everything for you. So we go to this view here, and then I get you guys to this, right? You compare the two. He tells it to you in English. He tells you this switch does this switch does that. All you need to do is open it. If you fly the plane enough, you'll memorize it. Just like anyone, you can't start the 407 the first time you get it. You watch it once, you can get it, and then you memorize it and internalize it. The numbers are sorry about that. The inner ring here is, I want to say it's in knots. And it does get weird. Actually, no, it's not. What are these numbers in? Let's find out. Shall we? Plugins, data ref editor. This is once it goes full circle. So this is 40, then there's 160, then once it goes full circle. Really interesting speed gauge, actually. We want to go to data ref editor, show data refs. Alright, so it doesn't have anything custom for this one. Obviously the Dream Engine gain, but we're going to go to airspeed. Let's see what we can do here. It's not writable. 50, 50, 50, 50. Alright, so this is it in knots, right? So now we're going 9 knots. I'm going to do something that you should never see a streamer do. So right there, we're a little bit above 80. Let's figure out if we're at 82. Apparently, we just took off. That's cool. Sadly, we won't be able to see the rest of this. But this is actually in knots. Yeah, this is in knots, because right there is about 82. Right here is about 82. I mean, it seems like it makes sense. Everything works out. I don't know. So this is obviously knots. So that accommodates a pilot enough. I mean, the airspeed's something that you'll have to figure out. This says we're 500 feet, if I'm not mistaken. There's 1,000. There's 2, 3, 4. Once it cycles again, that's 5,000. So apparently you're only allowed to cruise like 9,000, or else then you have to keep going. 10,000, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We'll find out what that's in here. Altitude, we have ourselves at 490 feet. Current altitude, it says we're at 1,500. cabin altitude's 419, which kind of correlates with that. 1,500. Let's see if we can change this right now to 2,000. Alright, no, but we can change this here. Can we change it on the fly? Yes, but it does nothing for the gauge of any extensive purpose. Anyway, that should have answered what your question there, which are the numbers are? Question mark? Or smiley face. But anyway, I plan to get into more of these planes. I'm not going to fly the Archer. Maybe the Saratoga. I'm going to fly more of the V-Flight a little bit later. This plane, obviously, it's a great plane. I repurchased this one. A livery that you guys haven't seen because it was never available since I had those issues. I'll show you this, and then I'm going to bounce. But pretty much, I thought, this plane's on sale. I really wanted to showcase something in this plane. I keep complaining about it. So let's put the money where the mouth is and buy it. And so I bought it, and now we're going to watch the loading screen. But let's not watch you guys watch X-Plane crash to its doom. This is the manual. Obviously, there are interior lights here. So there's the back cockpit, the left side, the right side. Pretty much you have more than enough lighting to keep yourself happy. He describes all the engine gauges. And pretty much he talks about how to do navigation. I'm not entirely sure why it's two white, 3 red. I mean, maybe for House of the Rising Sun sort of deal, but or Rising Sun, not House of the Rising Sun. That's the song. Anyway, and he talks to you about the fuel system. Yeah, it has to be actually, because this is circular based. Anyway, see, it's like a 13-page manual, kind of handy. Handy. Looks like you guys might have been frozen, not seen any of that. No, you saw all of that. Good. Okay, so here we go. So this is the Twin Otter. I rebought it. I had it before, but licensing issues due to travel kind of made it not work, which is unfortunate for me and for the guy, because, I mean, if you showcase the product, then more people will buy it. But he didn't think I was a big streamer or whatever. I'm not really. I'm a small-time streamer who just enjoys flying planes and sharing his experience. But I painted in the scenic livery and put my call sign more than ridiculously big. So I might fly this around the Grand Canyon or something. It's kind of fun to shoot around. This red's a little bit of the too bright color, but it's fine. There you go. Get away to the national parks. It's really quite a nice livery, if I dare say so myself. Anyway, so I'll let it go here. The picture of the Twin Otter, even though we flew a Japanese Zero. Let's see if I can do something artistic with these lines. There you go. You see the lines meet up? That says Scenic Airlines. Rather scenic and stuff. Alright, guys, as always. Apparently I didn't set a closing hotkey. Apparently I didn't at all. As always, here's the Surface Pro. And as always, I'm Flight SciTech. Thanks very much. Fly safe. Insert a good outro here. Keep it classy. Catch you on the flip. Later, dudes. I really need to find a good outro song. Anyway, fly safe. Thanks for watching. Peace.